Welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle, and in this video I want to tell you about the books I've chosen for Series September. Series September is a reading challenge, readathon. I'm not entirely sure what it's what it would be considered. It is for the month of September, and it is hosted by Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand and Krista from Books and Jams. And it's really just about getting some progress made in the series that we are reading. And I think that is a fantastic idea. I have a bazillion series that are on the go, and so this is going to be a really great way for me to make progress in those series in the month of September. They have created a fantastic bingo board. I printed it off in black and white, but it's colorful, and yeah, I really like having a bingo board to work with. So here are the prompts and the books that I have chosen to fulfill each of the prompts. The first one is to read a book in a series you haven't touched in a year. And for this, I went for more than a year. The book has not arrived yet from the library, so I'm going to insert a picture here. It is called Fool's Gold by Caro, Peacock, and this is a series that I have not read from since 2017. So I feel like it's time, especially considering that Fool's Gold is the penultimate book in the series. There's only 2 left, so what am I doing, right? Okay, so this series it's part of the Fool's Gold is part of the Liberty Lane series. She is a private detective in the early Victorian era, and Fool's Gold takes place in 1841. A series of anonymous letters leads to a case of cold-blooded murder. So I'm excited to get back to this series and potentially even finish it in the month of September, since there are only 2 left. The second prompt is to read a book in the most recent series you've started, and that would be the League of Literary Ladies series by Kylie, Logan. And the next book up for me is The Legend of Sleepy Harlow. These are cozy mysteries set in Ohio. I believe it's Ohio. It's actually an island on Lake Erie. A small island about 4 miles long, and it's got a small town. The island has 1 town, and it's got about 800 people. And I can relate to this place for a number of different reasons. One, I spent about 4 years in a town of that size when I was a kid. I grew up in a town of 800 people, so I know what that's like to live in such a small community. But on the other hand, this is a village on an island on Lake Erie. And so when the tourists hit, the population just explodes. And I know what that's like as well, because Aaron and I lived in Kenora for 3 years. And Kenora is a small place of, I don't know, 10,000 people maybe. But in the summer, the population triples. It's set kind of right in the 10,000 lakes or 1,000 lakes area there, and so it's right on the body of water, and it's a huge tourist area. So I also know what that's like to live in a small place that gets inundated with tourists. And for the person who lives there all year round, it's not always fantastic. So I enjoyed this series for those reasons, that I can relate to those kind of things. And this is the 3rd one in the series, like I said, The Legend of Sleepy Harlow. The titles of this series are fantastic. They're very punny. I'm into that as well. So the League of Literary Ladies is a group of 4 women who meet to discuss books at the library, which, hey, that sounds good. I would totally do that. And so, as you can tell from the title, in this book, they will be discussing the Legend of Sleepy The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by, I'm pretty sure that's Washington Irving. So, for Halloween, the literary ladies have chosen to read Washington Irving's spooky classic, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, with its infamous headless horseman. But South Bass Island has its own headless legend of a Prohibition bootlegger named Charlie Sleepy Harlow. Decapitated by rival rum runners, Harlow appears once a year in spectral form to search for his noggin. This October, the Elkhart Ghost Getters have returned to the island. The group claims that they have film footage of Harlow's ghost and are determined to get more. They're staying at B. Cartwright's B&B. She's one of the League of Literary Ladies, but it's Kate Wilder, that's another one, who isn't happy to see them after they trashed her winery last year. When the leader of the group turns up dead, Kate becomes the prime suspect, and the other League members need to scramble to crack the case. So that will be fun. The third prompt is to start a series. And this is a book that was recommended by a member of a mystery book club that I am a part of. And this is Death at Whitewater Whitewater Church by Andrea Carter. This is a series set in Ireland, and she highly recommended it. Missing groom, a deconsecrated church, a hidden crypt, a skeleton wrapped in a blanket. Sounds good. When a skeleton is discovered in the hidden crypt of a deconsecrated church, everyone is convinced the bones must be those of Connor Devitt, a local man who went missing on his wedding day 6 years previously, but the post-mortem reveals otherwise. Solicitor Benedicta Ben O'Keefe is acting for the owners of the church. She is reluctant to get involved, but when Connor's brother dies in a strange circumstances shortly after coming to see her, she finds herself drawn into the mystery. Whose skeleton is in the crypt and how did it get there? Is Connor Devitt still alive? And if so, is there a link? What happened on the morning of his wedding to make him disappear? Negotiating between the official investigation, headed up by the handsome but surly Sergeant Tom Malloy, and obstructive locals with secrets of their own, Ben unravels layers of personal and political history to get to the truth of what happened 6 years before. So this sounds really good, and this is a series that I'm anticipating that I will really enjoy. All right, the fourth prompt is to finish a series. So for this one, I could go with the Liberty Lane series that I already talked about by Caro Peacock, but there is another series that I have been taking way too long to finish, and again, I only have 2 more books, and so I'm reading one right now, and the last in the series is Sweet Sorrow by David Roberts. This is part of the Lord Edward Corinth and Verity Brown series. This is a historical mystery series set in England in the 30s. And I have enjoyed this series, but again, for some reason, it's one that I've just forgotten about at times, and so it's taken me like a really long time to finish it. This last book in the series, yeah, this came out in 2009, so it's not like I was waiting for the books or anything. And so Lord Edward is obviously part of the aristocracy in England, and Verity Brown is a woman who is, she's a communist, or she has communist beliefs anyways, and so the two of them are great partners because there's always a lot of conflict. And I don't want to read too much, because since this is the last book in the series, I don't want to give a whole bunch of stuff away. But yeah, this is an enjoyable historical mystery series as well. Okay, next up is to read a book in a duology. And this was actually really hard to find because there's not a ton of duologies in the type of books that I read, but I finally remembered that I have a duology sitting on my shelves waiting for me to read, and that is this one, The Last Hours by Minette Waters. This is the first book, This is the first book in the duology, and it is a duology about the Black Death, which is intriguing. Also, aren't these covers great? For most, the Black Death is the end. For a brave few, it heralds a new beginning. So this is set in England in 1348. When the Black Death enters England through the port of Melcombe in Dorsetshire in June 1348. No one knows what manner of sickness it is or how it spreads and kills so quickly. The church cites God as the cause, and religious fear grips the people as they come to believe that the plague is a punishment for wickedness. But Lady Anne of Devlish has her own ideas. Educated by nuns, Anne is a rarity among women, being both literate and knowledgeable. With her brutal husband absent from Devlish when news of this pestilence reaches her, she takes the decision to look for more sensible ways to protect her people than daily confessions of sin. Well versed in the importance of isolating the sick from the well, she withdraws her people inside the moat that protects her manor house and refuses entry even to her husband. She makes an enemy of her daughter and her husband's steward by doing so, but her resolve is strengthened by the support of her leading serfs until food stocks run low and the nerves of all are tested by continued confinement and ignorance of what is happening in the world outside. The people of Devlish are alive, but for how long? And what will they discover when the time comes for them to cross the moat? Fascinating, right? Especially in the world we are currently living in. I think these were published before. Yeah, this was in 2017. I don't think Minette Walters knew what was coming. Okay, next up is to read a book in a series that is longer than 5 books. And for this one, I've chosen to read the next up in the series by Jeri Westerson. This is Traitor's Codex. This is a Crispin Guest series, also set in the medieval time period. And this series definitely has more than 5 books. It currently has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It currently has 12 or possibly 13 by this point. This one came out in 2019. Crispin Guest is a great character. He is he was a knight, and for various political reasons, he kind of backed the wrong horse. He ended up losing everything. He lost his titles, his lands, everything. And now he has to make do the best he can. And so he is known as, what is he known as? A seeker or a tracker. So people will come to him to help them find things, people that are missing, things that are missing, stuff like that. So this is set in London. This book in the series is 1394. And he is enjoying his ale in the Boar's Tusk Tavern until a stranger leaves a mysterious wrapped bundle on his table telling him, "You'll know what to do." Inside is an ancient leather-bound book written in an unrecognizable language. Accompanied by his apprentice, Jack Tucker, Crispin takes the unknown Codex to a hidden rabbi, where they make a shocking discovery. It is the Gospel of Judas from the Holy Land, and its contents challenge the very doctrine of Christianity itself. Crispin is soon drawn into a deadly maze involving murder, living saints, and lethal henchmen. Why was he given the blasphemous book, and what should he do with it? A series of horrific events confirm his fears that there are powerful men who want it and who will stop at nothing to see it destroyed. Okay, the next up is to read the second book in a series, and for that I have gone with The Kill Fee by Fiona Veitch Smith. This is the second in her Poppy Denby Investigates series. This is a series set in England in the 20s. I believe it's the 20s. Yes. The first book in the series was called, oh, I wish I could remember, The Jazz Files. That's what it was called. So Poppy is a journalist. I believe she's a journalist, or she wants to be a journalist. So there's this great map in the beginning of 1920 London. All right. Poppy Denby's star is on the rise. Now the arts and entertainment editor at the Daily Globe, she covers an exhibition of Russian art at the Crystal Palace. A shot rings out, leaving a guard injured and an empty pedestal in the place of the largest Fabergé egg in the collection. The egg itself is valuable, but more so are the secrets it contains within, secrets that could threaten major political powers. Suspects are aplenty, and Poppy is delighted to once again be in the middle of a sensational story. But soon, the investigation takes a dark turn when someone connected with the exhibition is murdered, and an employee of the newspaper becomes a suspect. The race is on to find the egg before the killer strikes again. Okay, and then the 8th prompt is to read 2 books in the same series. And so for this one, I decided to go with a series that I've been enjoying, but it feels like I haven't been making a huge amount of progress in, probably because it's a pretty long series. So I decided to go with Peter Lovesey's Peter Diamond series. This is a modern day police procedural series set in Bath in England, which is such a great setting, I think, for the series. So the 2 that I want to read are The Tooth Tattoo and The Stone Wife. So in The Tooth Tattoo, strange things are happening to jobbing musician Mel Farron, who finds himself scouted by methods closer to the spy world than the concert platform. But the chance of joining a once famous string quartet in a residency at Bath Spa University is too tempting for Mel to refuse. Then, a body is discovered in the city canal, and the only clue to the dead woman's identity is the tattoo of a music note on one of her teeth. For Peter Diamond, recently returned from a disastrous trip to Vienna with his companion Paloma, the investigation is his most demanding ever. 3 mysterious deaths need to be probed while his own personal life is in freefall. And The Stone Wife is the next one up. Just as the bidding gets exciting in a Bath auction house, 3 armed men stage a holdup and attempt to steal Lot 129, a medieval carving of the wife of Bath. The highest bidder, appalled to have the prize snatched away, tries to stop them and is shot dead. And I'll stop there. Okay, and then the last prompt is to read your newest purchase that's part of a series. And I'm really excited about this one. This one will show up later in a book haul video because it's that recent of a purchase. It's the first in a series that I have been really slowly collecting as I can find them. And I have been reading them out of order, but I am super excited that I've actually found the first one. So I can go back and read this series in its proper order. And this is A Famine of Horses by P.F. Chisholm. This is a Sir Robert Carey mystery set in England in 1592. So Elizabeth I is the Queen. And this is a series, yes, this book came out in 1994. These are, I don't know why these are so hard to find, but they are. So, A Famine of Horses. In the year 1592, Sir Robert Carey, a handsome courtier, comes north to Carlisle to take up his new post as Deputy Warden of the West March. He has wangled his appointment to be nearer his true love, a married woman, and farther from the gimlet eyes of his creditors and the disapproving eye of his father, the Queen's cousin, possibly her half-brother. And of course, he can use the money. Sir Robert is quick to realize he won't see a profit from the perks if he fails to keep the peace. Alas, he is quickly challenged by the murder of a local lad, the possible betrayal of a disappointed rival, the ire of the lady's husband, and the question of the horses. The hundreds of horses being stolen from all over the neighborhood. It's hard to say whether the greatest danger lies without the city walls amidst the scheming Scots, or within amidst the unruly English garrison. Rich in atmosphere and packed with vivid real and fictional characters, few novels are as well imagined or as much fun as this romp through roguish courtiers, rival gangs, rustling treason, and high ambition. There is a quote on the back from Sharon K. Penman. A Chisholm mystery is the next best thing to time travel. For those who find the journey more compelling than the final destination, a Chisholm novel will offer an unforgettable Elizabethan pilgrimage. So there you have it. Those are my books for the Series September challenge. I was gonna try and hold them up, but I don't think that's a good idea. So, are you participating in Series September? Let's chat in the comment section down below. Are you reading any of these series that I have mentioned? I would love to chat with you about them, and I will see you for another video soon. Bye.